This is an It Came from GenX video.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to It Came from GenX. Keith Porter here alongside Ryan Fisher, Michael Skinner, trying to plug along and get it to 102. And it's been quite an ordeal, but we are happy to be back here in the saddle once again. And we've had a heck of a week or so. So it's good to see the fellas, everybody back in the saddle again. Skinbone, how you feeling, babe?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Yep, good to be back. It's been a trying couple weeks here, but we're on the way. We're good.
Yeah, we're on the way, man. So staying tall, and if everybody holds tight, we'll have some exciting news announced with Skinner here down the road. So I'm excited about that. Fisher, what's up, babe? How you doing?
Doing well, man. We didn't shoot last week. In part, I was not available, and then everybody had some stuff going on or didn't feel well. So glad to be back. Had a great few days with Allie, my lovely girlfriend, and a little staycation for a few days around the Cleveland and Canton area. Got to see the Cavs win.
All right.
And clinch a playoff.
That's right.
First time.
Cool.
First time without LeBron James since 1997-8 season. So that was pretty exciting. And I have some exciting news as well. I am now the grandparent of a new puppy.
Oh, you got a grand dog.
Yes. So Peyton, lovely daughter Peyton and Joey got a adorable new puppy over this past weekend. So
Congratulations.
Very cute. Yes, she is a golden doodle. So a poodle golden retriever. Very, very cute. So
okay. What's her name?
Callie. So we're looking forward to meeting Callie with a C. Callie. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Congratulations. You probably saw a picture I posted on Facebook with my grand dog, Steele, and his fiance came down last weekend and stayed all day, helped me get a lot of stuff done around the house. I mean, we fixed the banister, we set up the electronic drums in the dining room. He was just really helpful. So I made them dinner and got to play with their dog, Ziggy. So I know how the grand dogs are. We love our grand dogs. Take them home with you. We're just like kids. That was fun. Take them home.
That's right.
I don't have to feed it. We're good. All right, man. So anyway, we're glad to be here today, people. We thank you for your patience with us. And we're just really grateful for everybody that listens to the show. We want to just say a heartfelt thank you. It means a lot to us. Our mind is made up. We're going to do this show because we love it and love each other, and that's why we'll do it. But we really care about all those that support us and listen to us, and we're very, very grateful. So, there's tell them where they can find the show, man.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I'm getting paid, so I
told you, Skinner.
Awkward.
I told you.
You were right.
Awkward.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah. Well, to allow me to continue to get paid, and these guys to just show up for the love of it. So you might be listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We can be found on all major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, and more. So wherever you listen to podcasts, simply pull up the It Came from GenX podcast, give us a follow or subscribe, and as we publish new episodes, we'll pop into your feed free of charge to listen wherever you want to, whenever you want to. You might be watching us on our YouTube channel. Full episode segments are on our YouTube channel at It Came from GenX, or you might be watching us on the Boss Code Media TV network. You can find them on your smart television or your portable device. If you pull up the Boss Code Media network, download, subscribe, and we're on there with other creative content, creative artists across the country. We could be found in, let's see, sorry, I'm out of practice after 2 weeks. So I lose part of my pay for that. No, all social media, it can be found at two main places, I'm trying to say, on our Linktree page.
Right.
Just Google Linktree. It Came from GenX. It's simply a page with links to our social media where you can listen to us and all other good stuff there. And our website, if you go to one place, go to the website, itcamefromgenx.com. GenXers.wordpress.com. All show information's there, links to new episodes, videos, bios, and our merch store can be found on our website and Linktree. If you're looking for some cool It Came from Gen X merch, similar to what I'm wearing here with the show logo designed by my lovely daughter, Peyton. If you do anything at all, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe, rate, review. It helps others find the show, and we appreciate your support out there. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Big love to the man that produces our podcast, Michael Skinner Jr. We love you, boss. And thank you for everything that you do. And give a big shout out to your lovely brand new wife. I'm going to say it's right. Marin.
Right.
I got it right. Yeah. Screw the wedding up, but I got it right now. So no, I got it right at the wedding. So, anyway, also, I want to take a moment to say happy anniversary to two very special people in my life.
Yes.
John and Amy Cooper. Those of you know, Cooper is very much a big part of this show. He was there in the beginning with reality football. Scheduling conflicts stopped him from being with us during this show. But they have been married for 24 years. And they're two of the best people I know, two of the best friends anybody could ask for. I love them dearly. And we want to say happy anniversary to you guys. 24 years basically means that my tuxedo is 24 years late, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that another time.
That's gone from in style to out of style and probably back in style.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like my wardrobe, but yeah. So happy anniversary to those guys. Also, since we're talking about Coach Cooper, we want to send our condolences. He lost his grandmother just 2-3 days ago, actually. I forget her exact age, but she really was
94.
an extraordinary 94. She was an extraordinary woman, and probably the oldest person that I ever got into an argument with football about. She loved to grill me about my Steelers and rub them Cowboys in my face. And she was just absolutely awesome. So my condolences to him, Carolyn Cooper, with mom, to me, and their entire family. So, all right. How about we get a show going, guys? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Mike Skinner with the Tom and Jerry. Some world news. Take it away, brother.
All right. We are
family.
On the backside. We are family. We're on the backside of something that we talked a little bit about. Maybe a little bit. The pandemic.
Oh.
The COVID pandemic. I don't know if this is a mark of the end of it, if this is the beginning of the end of it, or what have you, but
that's an interesting question in itself.
Back in 2020, the lawmakers passed a rule that people were kept on Medicaid automatically. Typically, from year to year, you have to reapply every single year for Medicaid coverage. And they send you out paperwork like 3 months before you're eligible to either come off or to renew. You send the paperwork in, blah, blah, blah. 2020, they said that they are automatically enrolling people into the government program. And even if they no longer met requirements for coverage. So, for instance, my better half, Miss Marcy, was laid off from work. She went on unemployment and she qualified she went and checked on it just because she wanted to make sure Serenity was still covered. Didn't care, anyway, they was like, oh yeah, you're going to qualify since you're out of work.
Mm-hmm.
You're laid off. So she went on. And then 3 months later, when she went back to work, she contacted them, said, okay, I'm back to work. I can do coverage again. They're like, oh, no, we're not allowed to kick you off. So the government passed a rule that once you became eligible for the pandemic in the year 2020, you were automatically renewed for a period of time. Well, in 2021, they renewed it for one more year, and that for, I think it was 2 years. So here we are, April, what is today, the 4th? April the 3rd?
April 3rd.
So Friday will be April the 6th, right? Am I doing the math right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, the 6th of April at midnight. They will be no longer doing the automatic renewal for Medicaid coverage. 15 million people are going to be affected by this. Now, they're not just saying you wake up Friday or Saturday morning and you're done. They're not going to do that, of course. They're going to, over the next 12 months, they're going to minimize the amount of recipients based on qualification. So people like Marcy that got a new job with a significant pay raise, she's no longer going to qualify for the coverage. She'll be one of the first ones to go. But you've got those that didn't do the renewals, those that, and others that don't qualify anymore will eventually be kicked off over the next 12 months. Well, the reason I brought this up is, like I said, we haven't talked about COVID for quite a while, and we all know that, you know, there was, all of us have battled it, and in mine and Fisher's case, battled it twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got one side that's vaccinated, the other side that's not vaccinated, and there was that whole propaganda. And, you know, if you're vaccinated, you're good. If you're not vaccinated, you're the devil. And this, we
That's
talked
right.
about it in exhaustion.
But
at the end of the day,
opposite. If you're vaccinated, you're the devil, and if you're not, you're good.
One way or the other. So here we are, 3 of us here today, on the backside of this, and you know, what have we seen in change over the last 3 years? That could probably be an entire show on all the change we've seen since February, March 2020.
Sure.
Is anything of these changes directly affected you that you'd like to talk about? Do you have any comments or concerns about the enrollment or the de-enrollment of the medical coverage for everybody? I see it as a possible problem. You know, there's going to be people not having medical coverage. What's going to happen to the billing department at these hospitals and doctors' offices? Is that going to cause a steamroll effect on delinquency and credit and all this that goes along with it? I'm just kind of concerned, but I hope it's going to be a slow roll process and that it's going to be an easy transition, but we will see. Porter, what do you think?
Wow, that's a lot to unwrap.
It is, and I apologize for that, but there is a lot.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, it's just so many ways we can go with this, is what I was trying to say. I'm going to go a different angle because I can't really answer too much about that. But I know this: our government. You know, I love America. I love our country. I'm proud to be an American, and that doesn't mean we stick our head in the sand and don't recognize that we've got some serious problems. And one of the problems that I see, and a lot of this, from being a minority, I see it. With all of the help that America does for people, there's a price attached to it. And the help is not given to help you get a leg up, especially if you're a minority. The help is given, but you have to be willing to sacrifice freedom and the ability to get ahead in order to take the help. Yeah, we'll give you ways to eat. We'll give you ways to get medical. We'll give you ways to get a check every month. But God forbid you get any kind of a job or a way to get ahead, a way to get out of debt, whatever, where as soon as you do, we're going to take this from you, or we're going to take that from you, or we're going to reduce this, or we're going to reduce that. And I see it all the time. And it's tantamount to slavery. in a passive aggressive way, because when you become part of the system, you got to be adherent to the system. You might get free medical, but these are the only doctors you're going to be able to see. You might get food, but this is the only food you're going to be able to eat. And talking about Marcy's case and people who have suffered from the pandemic, while it's appreciated what the government did for those, I just hope there's not a situation of people who need to catch up and now they're having their legs cut from under them. You know what I'm trying to say? Right. I don't know Marcy's situation or anybody else's, but I'd hate to see people who, whatever they lost during the pandemic, are finally getting back together, and now all of a sudden, boom, you're going to have the basis from the help that you got taken away from you, and it's going to keep you down. I ain't worried about people trying to get ahead, but at least somebody get back to where they were. And that's what I think about when I think about government help, this being taken, that being taken. We got to help people get ahead in this country. We're the richest country in the world when it comes to that, per person or whatever. We should be able to help foreigners because everybody in America is doing good. We don't do right by our veterans. We don't do right by our elderly. We don't do right by our men and women in uniform. We got to do better. Don't tell me the money's not there. I don't want to hear that crap. You send billions all over God's green earth. That money should stay here and make America like the strongest country in the world. You do that by every individual who was willing to get up and put a pair of boots on, help them out, and those that are not capable to help them out, and those that are not willing, stop giving them everything. Those that are lazy. So I just hope it's just not. Yeah, I just hope it's not a situation where we're cutting the legs out from people who are just getting back to at least where they were. That's all I can say about that.
And that's what Miss Marcy's worried about. Is she's worried about she's going to wake up next morning and they're going to say your health coverage is no longer there. It's like, she's going to scramble to get coverage. Now she's got medical benefits through her work when she's ready to to do it. So we're not worried about her. It's other people in her same position. Yeah, somebody gets a good qualifying job that they're no longer qualified on Medicaid, but maybe they don't get benefits through that employer. What are these people going to do? And that's what I'm worried about is those people.
Absolutely. I get it.
Yeah, I can't add much more than what you guys have already said. I mean, there has been some, I guess, progress in national. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you, as far as the Obamacare and all that, other than it's a way for some to get coverage that maybe couldn't before. I don't know how much it is. I don't know what all qualifies and so forth. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's if somebody's working and willing to work, so it's not a matter of they're just trying to sit back and collect benefits and not be motivated to go out and try to do something, and like you say, the employer doesn't offer coverage. That's you're putting those people in a real tough spot. You get some major bill, you can't pay for it, and you're behind. You'll never be able to maybe pay it off. Discourages people from going to get needed health care and prescriptions to make them a healthier individual. It's just a whole bad state of affairs. So like you say, hopefully people that are trying to get out there and make it work still can get some type of coverage out there. This country, like you say, has got a lot of work to do yet as far as national health coverage. It should be one of the least things to worry about living in a nation as rich as ours, as far as just to get basic medical coverage without worrying about being in a position where you're in debt for many years, if not the rest of your life, if something happens.
And when we were younger, we chased, things, cars, women. We want a house. And as we got older, and I know I can speak for you guys, we come to realize there's nothing more important than good health. And I think that should be the one fundamental thing that a country of this magnitude makes sure of when it comes to its citizens. And your body doesn't know anything about a cutoff date. I'd hate to see somebody who's, gotten this help and used to it, and they're in the middle of a jam right now, and right in the middle of it, you get cut off. So I don't know how that's all going to work, but definitely keep an eye on it.
Yep. Best thing about you,
Sure.
just about the pandemic in general, Skinner, the best thing about it has been the change in a lot of workplaces like ours. I know yours and mine
Yes.
is definitely adopted the whole. We would not be probably would not be working from home and
It's
having
a
that
definite for me.
without that change in the pandemic. So that is, if there's anything positive in my opinion from that, is that, but
Yeah.
and companies offering opportunities for people remotely, that so they broaden their horizon with talent to where they don't need to be, they can hire people all over the country who are qualified to do remote jobs. So that's it. Other than that, I don't know what else really is came out of the pandemic that was a very positive change.
Mhm. And I don't want to belay the story, but Skinner was alluding to something even bigger when he started this. Seeing these changes, what is it signifying? Or are we getting close to officially saying the pandemic is over? Are we going to see more and more changes as far as things ending or things going back to normal? That type of deal. It's interesting to wonder. I had to stop myself from reading internet news, everything, little thing I see, because if you do, it'll scare you to death, And because I kept seeing all kind of headlines about, and I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm just, second wave coming through the pandemic and all this and that and that and this, But then we see things like this that kind of signify, like you said, maybe this is the end of it.
Just like last year, Allie and I went to a concert in Cleveland, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just a year ago, and you had to, it was at the House of Blues in Cleveland. You had to bring with you either proof that you had tested recently negative or
Wow.
a vaccination record to get into the place. Now, they told you ahead of time, so it wasn't a surprise. And then you fast forward, Allie and I went to the Cavs game recently.
I was
Completely
going to
normal.
say, because I'm going to
stopping
the
people.
House of Blues tomorrow to see Polyphia, and I haven't heard anything about that. So
Yeah, just check it to be sure, but there shouldn't be any type of
okay.
Requirements from a pandemic related issue or anything like that. So you kind of forget about that. It just kind of happened all of a sudden. I was thinking, were there Sunday 20,000 people, everything was fine, everything was normal, and you kind of forget that you weren't able to do that not that long ago.
Well, think about it, Fish. We went to the Goodyear Theater over Christmas and went
That's
to a
right.
show.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we walked in. There were some people, I think we saw maybe one or two people wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
It was like just like it was nothing, So yeah, I agree with you. The working from home is a big change for us because I would have never done that had the pandemic not happened. I think the overall work environment has changed for not just one industry, but across the globe. There are those that, for instance, the bank. We have 200 people that are in the bank. Probably 50 are in the office 5 days a week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a group, maybe another 50, 75 that are in there once or twice a week. So, before the pandemic, we were all in that office every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my car's thanking the pandemic. So I'm able to keep it in the driveway and I didn't have to sell it with all the miles I was putting on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're right. That's a whole other thing you get into a whole other conversation with. You're right. Is that type of stuff, less driving, less emissions, everything else into the air with a lot of this is, so I don't know. There's a whole thing with that. But anyway, interesting.
All right.
So.
All right. Thank you, Skinner. Interesting story. All right, guys, let's move to a little music and sports. Let me get my tongue untied. Of course, the big news in sports has been March Madness, which has been interesting in itself. We had our first Elite Eight that did not include Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, or North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, talking about a different era. Of course,
Incredible,
the great Mike Krzyzewski is gone. A lot of the great coaches have gone. It was just really kind of strange for me. And I got to be honest with you, it did not grab my attention at all. I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch, but I was like, huh. Now, on the women's side, it has been a lot more interesting during March Madness. We've had a lot of controversy, and I think they've had more ratings and certainly more viral videos than normal.
Yeah.
But a few interesting incidents have gone on. Last week we had a game with Louisville and Caitlin Clark. Who she play for again?
Iowa.
Iowa. Thank you guys. And Louisville was losing. No, I'm sorry. Iowa was winning, and Caitlin Clark gave Louisville's Haley Van Lith, very well-known player, John Cena's "You Can't See Me" ordeal. The announcer was like, "What is that supposed to mean?" He was a little bit out of touch with pop culture, I guess. And of course, when it was revealed what that means, it kind of got a lot of pub in the media. Like the word they used was her moxie. And here we are a week later, and in the championship game, LSU defeated Iowa pretty bad, 102-85. That's pretty bad for a championship game. Man, you're talking about 17 points. Wow. And LSU MVP of that game was a player by the name of Angel Reese, who at a point in the game gave Caitlin Clark the "You Can't See Me," gave her a little bit of her own medicine. Now,
So they did the ring thing.
Yeah, she did that too.
Yep.
Now, Haley Van Lith and Caitlin Clark are both white players. Angel Reese is black, and I'm bringing that up because for some reason she is being vilified in the media and called names and whatnot or whatever, and it just kind of makes you wonder. Is the racial bias that bad, or is that even the reason behind this at all? Is there another I don't want to say clarification, but is there another reason behind Reese's movements different than Clark's that causes for a different attitude? One cannot help but look to the obvious of it being race. And is that the issue? And do you think it's fair that she should be criticized when Clark was called giving her moxie when she did it to Haley Van Lith? Fisher.
Should she be criticized? No. I mean, there are some coming to her defense as well. I've noticed out there, which is good. So, would she have done that without Caitlin Clark doing it herself? I doubt it. So I think she probably saw that, didn't like it, thought that was maybe some poor sportsmanship, and gave her a taste of her own medicine. Mm-hmm. And hey, if you don't want it done to you, don't do it to other people. It's really as simple as that. And I don't think Caitlin Clark said anything one way or the other. I'm not sure. I mean, I know she saw
anything either.
I know she saw it because it was right. It was literally right in her face, and I think maybe she learned something from that. And it'd be interesting to see if either player does that again in their career. But Caitlin Clark, you deserved it. You should not make those type of. You get in the pros, it's a little bit different. There's more trash talk and blah, blah, blah. And it probably happens on the court and all that. But if you do something that people can see and pick up on video, you got to understand it's going to get out there, and some players aren't going to like it, and you may have it done to you someday, and that's it. So they should not criticize the other player. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, speaking of Haley Van Lith, she was also involved in another small controversy just a week prior to that. I'm not going to quote the player's name or team, I can't recall, but going through the handshake line, the player kind of stopped her and was kind of fussing at her, said some harsh words to her in regards to something I guess she claimed was said to her on the court. Do you think all these things are helping women's basketball, helping the ratings, or is this poor sportsmanship, and they need to tone it back a little bit?
I mean, they shouldn't do it. I mean, it's it was getting enough positive attention lately
Mm-hmm.
with some of the exciting play.
I have to agree with you. I watched the tournament last year, and I was just blown away, man. South Carolina, Baylor, these teams are amazing, man. Notre Dame, just amazing to watch. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That just
Yeah, I
getting
agree
enough
with you.
with the gameplay. Yeah.
I think the gameplay was helping bring up women's collegiate basketball all by itself. Doesn't it? Okay, so Skinner, you heard what we talked about in this situation, and you can comment on that if you want to. But I'm going to pivot to another situation, not as benign as this, a little more serious. Memphis and Bowling Green had a game a week or so ago. And Memphis player Jamira Shoots, and again, for the sake of context, she was white, punched a Bowling Green player going through the handshake line. Obviously, she's got issues dealing with her school and the team and all that, but they're also pressing assault charges. Fair, too much, out of bounds? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I don't condone what she did. She shouldn't have punched the girl. That's bad sportsmanship altogether. I don't care if you lost, won, got embarrassed on the court. That's part of the game. I don't know what led up to the punch. To be true, I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. I can only tell you based on my sports experience personally and what I've seen over the last 51 years of life, watching day in and day out. There's nothing. There's no place in that in sports whatsoever, especially if this is a shake hands, good game, which is supposed to express good sportsmanship. It's done after every game, especially in basketball. So I don't know what led up to it. I can't even speculate. I just know it should not have happened. It could have been handled differently. And I don't care what color skin the person is. She's probably getting vilified because she is black. Is it warranted? Absolutely not. Again, I don't care what your color skin is. If you do something as egregious as what she did, whether you're black, white, green, or purple, you're going to be looked at the same in my eyes.
So
and that should be that
yes
way.
or no? Do you agree with the assault charges?
No, I don't think. I don't know. That's such a sticky subject, and I don't have enough information to come to an intelligent answer.
Okay.
My gut tells me no, but today's society and how soft people are, I see why it happened.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give my opinion here, and we're going to pivot back to Fish on the last case here. Okay, for the first subject, we have been brainwashed through the media, television, movies, or whatever. And you can deny it if you want, but when you see black skin, it is a different effect. And this has been done to us on purpose. We all have to be cognizant of this, and we have to free our minds. If you had not seen the first You Can't See Me and you saw the second one, I believe with all my heart she would have been vilified just as she has been. And I think race has a lot to do with it. I love what Fisher was saying was when he was like, you know what, maybe she was giving a message to her like, there's no place for that. How do you like it? How do you feel? How do we know what her motives were? So moving on to the second situation, there might be a little extra sauce on the turkey because of skin color. But in my opinion, yeah, you ought to have assault charges filed against you. And I'm going to tell you why. Our traditions in sports are what makes sports special. And there are unwritten rules that we hold dear that everybody adheres to be a part of this thing, whether you're a fan or athlete. Now, if she'd have punched her during the game, yeah, suspend her, take a lot of heat, social media, all that stuff. But you punched her during the handshake line. The moment where everything you did on that court or field or whatever gets set aside. And you show this is what makes America great. We shake hands. I'm angry because I lost, but we shake hands. I'm happy because I won, but we shake hands. When you punch a person on a game or whatever in the field of battle, that's one thing. But when you hit somebody who's not expecting it, who has let down their guard, who is tired from competing, who is in a totally different frame of mind, a non-combative frame of mind, because you just put in your 40 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it may be, and you punch a person in the face, shatter their rectal, bone, whatever, cause them not to see, maybe never play again. You guys remember, was it Orlando Brown, player, big old lineman for the Cleveland Browns? His career was basically over because of a referee's flag hitting him in the eye. When you do something like that, yeah, you ought to have assault charges filed against you. First of all, the message has to be sent. This can't happen again. And you know we're living in a world right now. As soon as you see something happen once, it snowballs. You start seeing it everywhere. So I think, and she gets what she gets, because there was no place for that, no room for that. You said, I'm not sure what led up to it. I don't care what led up to it. That game was over with, lady. You lose, you come back and fight next year. You beat them, you make them pay for it. That's what sports is about. Fish, your thoughts?
No, can't say much more than that, man. Like you say, it's everything you said was perfect. It's you did not see the great players and you think about all the rivalries in sports.
Yes.
And what would have happened if Magic would have punched Bird or vice versa or something? I would have just taken that to a terrible, terrible place. Like you say, I don't know.
Yeah, we had a player. I forget his. Well, of course, he went on to be a dirty dog in the NFL. Played for the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the dirtiest players in the game. But I don't understand how he was allowed to go. I do understand because he was talented, but he was allowed to go on to make millions of dollars when he sucker punched somebody in a bowl game. I believe at the end of the game, you all know who I'm talking about. The Steelers had some great battles, and if I like anything about Juju paid him back for old and new, and that was the last we saw of him. But he sucker punched a player during the handshake, and to let him go on and make millions, I don't understand how that happened. I don't understand how you suspended Pryor for something he did in college when he came into the NFL for almost a year, and then this guy was able to come in and make millions of dollars. I don't understand that, but there's just no room for that crap, man. No room for it.
Yeah, you said it best with the tradition, the American tradition of sports. Like you said, you said it best there. It just can't happen. It's unacceptable.
It can't happen.
Right.
All right, guys. Let's go and pivot on to music. And a couple little tidbits on this day in music. And I really hope we're going to do some GenX recommends today. Boy, I tell you. Okay, guys. A couple things here. It is April 3rd, or as I call it, Hell Week. I call it Hell Week because my former fiance was born on April 4th. My first wife was born on April 5th, 1965, and my second wife was born on April 6th, 1965. So I call this Hell Week, man.
I guess so. Jeez.
Yeah, I got to stay away from them Aries, man. I tell you. But okay, on this day, guys, 2011, Adele broke the record for the longest time at #1 in the UK album charts by female solo artists. After her second album, 21, spent 10 consecutive weeks at the top of the chart. The previous record was held by my favorite Madonna with her greatest hits record. I don't think that should count. It's a greatest hits record. The Immaculate Collection in 1990. Guys, Adele has been, I mean, she's just been given the crown. I've never seen an artist hailed as much as she has been in the last 20, 30 years. Is she all that? I guess that's the best way I could put it, pop culture style. Skinner.
Say that again.
Is she all that?
Yeah. I don't listen to that genre of music. I know it. It's played all the time. She's broke records and she's had longevity. If that's your genre of music, she's top of the list. Maybe she is. To me, no, she's not all that in a bag of chips, but that's not my cup of tea.
That's fair.
You know, I know her music. I think she's talented. I think her money and her fame kind of tells me that she's talented.
Mm-hmm.
But then somebody would say Justin Bieber's that too, and I think that guy's just that's
you watch subject. Don't talk about the Biebs.
Yeah, but
please, do.
I'm not the right guy to say is Adele all that because that's not my genre of music.
Okay, well, shut up then, Fisher.
I was just laughing. That was multiple Gen X expressions in the same, almost in the same.
Yes, it was.
All that.
There was a reason behind it.
Not my cup of tea.
That newfangled music.
You know what was good? Y&T. Now that was good music. You know. That's right. Crocus.
Now them Hanson boys. That was music.
Crocus. That was good music. Crocus. Yeah. No, is she good? I mean, absolutely, she's good. I mean, she's, one of the most popular music artists of our generation. Certainly, she has a good voice. I mean, certainly, she's influential, super popular on social media. I'm sure an influence with the young girls of, all colors, to inspire them, so I don't know. So
I love where you are. Good. Hold that right there. Okay. I love where you are. So obviously I love this. The person that she moved out of that spot for that record was Madonna. Mm-hmm. My thoughts on Madonna have been documented on this show. And I love how you didn't just go to her talent, but you went to her influence.
Yeah.
On other hours. When I heard about Adele, but I was wondering who Adele was before I ever heard her. I was with my mom and sister out in somewhere in Cleveland getting a van, and this song came on. And my sister and I was like, who is this? Because we had never heard anything like that before. It was rolling in the, let me think of the name of it. But it blew us away. And that's why I found out who Adele was. 21 to me is one of the greatest albums ever made because every single song on that album is special in its own way. I've been a fan of hers from day one. I think she is a once in a generation talent. If you really just sit and listen to her sing and how she sings her songs and how she words her songs, she is absolutely brilliant. My only thing about Adele that I don't like is she makes her songs very neat. You don't cut loose, like you want to feel like you're great singers. You want to feel like you're ad-libbing and cutting loose, towards the end or whatever. She's very cookie cutter with her songs. That's my only thing with her. But her songs are brilliant. I think she's the greatest thing to happen since Whitney Houston, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about, you mentioned influence on other women, and she replaced Madonna. She's the exact opposite, in my opinion, of what Madonna offered towards young women. As beautiful, Adele was overweight. She was vilified for being overweight when she came out, but she was beautiful. She's lost so much weight. She's transformed herself. She is absolutely stunning right now, but she's got a class act. She wears the long gowns. If you watch her concerts, it's just a classy performance. And all of her audiences are always full of celebrities. She's that well loved and respected, and is such a class act. And I appreciate her for being the exact opposite of what Madonna did for young women as far as influence. Too many people have 13, 14-year-old girls, singing Touch Like a Virgin for the first time, and dressing and wearing clothes like that. And then I think Beyonce has taken it to a whole nother level with all this dancing with your legs wide open and all this other crap. So I really appreciate Adele. And I think she's absolutely masterful. So, all right, moving on, guys.
Watch out, Skinner. Keith might be getting a hex.
Right.
He's not careful. He's not
Talking
careful.
that smack about Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
And she can try to hex me. She can hex a lot of people, but not this guy. I'm covered. Okay. All right, guys. 1971, the Temptations scored their first number one with Just My Imagination. The track is considered one of their signature songs. And it was the last song that featured original members Eddie Kendricks and Paul Williams. Temptations is one of the few groups that went on to change singers and change the members and still produce hits and still considered to be one of the greatest. I know we're all Temptations fans here. And I don't know if we've asked this specific question before, but I'm going to ask it now. What is your Temptations signature song? If you had to pick one, Fish.
I mean, honestly, that one comes to mind, right? Just my imagination. I think that's a great song. I love it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Not to make it an easy answer. I just love that song.
Okay. Skinner? Hard not to love almost all of them, right?
That's true. I love the Temptations.
It is. And I'm drawing a complete freaking blank on their songs.
Well, while you're looking it up, I'm going to just come out and say I don't think there's any song that says Temptations more than My Girl.
Great song.
Yeah, that was the first one that came to mind.
Boo-doo, boo-doo. I mean, you just hear that and everybody jumps up. Fun to sing. Everybody sings along. I think that's definitely their signature song, in my opinion.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah.
Another great song is Just My Imagination.
That's what we're talking about.
You were talking about My Girl. I got you. Wow, that one totally slipped by me.
I don't know about that Just My Imagination, but I love Just My Imagination. That's a good one.
You guys are talking about My Girl, and I totally missed the other one. But
another good song by Temptations, Screaming in the Night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there's so many good songs from the Temptations.
Cool.
How do you
Hey,
pick
that's a
one?
great song, Fish. Screaming in the Night.
We ain't gonna take it anymore. I think didn't they sing that one? I think.
Yeah.
We're not gonna take it anymore. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, guys, couple of birthdays in music. 1968. That's our year, ain't it, Fish?
Yes, it's our year. Yes, sir.
Sebastian Bach, originally from the band Skid Row, no longer with Skid Row, was born in 1968. Boy, he's certainly not the same guy he used to be. And also, I thought this was absolutely interesting because it's listed on this day in music. Comedian Eddie Murphy, Golden Globe winner for acting, comedy, did Saturday Night Live, is listed under this day in music. The question, do you take Eddie Murphy seriously as a performer, singer, artist, whatever you will? Fish?
No, not really. I mean, he sort of did that. I thought he did that album sort of a dare, like he couldn't do it or something like that. So he made that album. That song is so, what is it? My Girl Wants to Party All the Time.
Party, yes.
It is a fun song.
It's
do
a
like
fun
it.
song.
And
it's hard not to like it when you hear a Rick James bass groove on it. You hear
absolutely.
that, you're just, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a fun song, but do I take him as serious as it? No, hey, he had the talent and the wherewithal to make an album, and there's not a lot of actors and performers. It's definitely some have done it, but not many had somewhat of a hit like he did.
Right.
So give him credit for that. But
he certainly didn't do like Jamie Foxx has done.
No.
Who has really kind of solidified himself as, hey, I can sing. Okay. All right, go ahead, Skinner.
Yeah, you can't take him serious. I mean, yeah, kudos to him. He had one album, and you don't usually see the actor going to music. You usually see the music going to acting.
Right.
Will Smith, for an example. So yeah, he did something that was not heard of, which is an actor crossing over and singing. So
comedian, actually.
Does one song justify him as being a singer, songwriter?
And that's where I want to get you and Fish. Stop right there. Fish mentioned he had the one album, and you were saying the one song. All I'm gonna say to you guys is this: Dream Girls. Watch the movie.
Okay.
Dream Girls.
Okay.
I avoided this movie for the longest. Pam and my mom watched it over and over again. I didn't want to watch it because one, Beyonce was in it. Can't stand her. But I did want to watch it because Eddie Murphy's in it. Jamie Foxx is in it. Jennifer Hudson is in it. And I tell you what, it is one of my favorite movies to this day. It is a great story. And there's great music in it. And then watch that and then come back with your answer. Eddie Murphy plays a musician, singer in this movie back in the early 60s, maybe late 50s. He starts a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of soul. He is just absolutely amazing in this movie. Watch that movie and maybe come back and tell me your answer again. So that's all I can say. Okay. All right, guys, fair enough. That is all I got today in sports and music, a little pop culture. Take it away, my brother, Fish.
Ghostbusters on the job. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis as psychic phenomenon exterminators in one of the new movies we'll be reviewing this week, Ghostbusters. And joining me in the balcony is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. In addition to Ghostbusters, we'll also be reviewing Beat Street, the latest breakdancing movie. Also a French comedy called Les Compères, about two men searching for a son who they both think is theirs. But first, Roger begins with They're Playing with Fire.
It is now my duty to review one of the worst movies of this or any other year, a movie so bad that my best recommendation for this film is that it immediately be cut up and made into ukulele picks. The name of the movie is They're Playing with Fire, and it stars Sybil Danning, one of my favorite B-movie stars, in a ridiculous story about a college Shakespeare professor, that's Miss Danning, who seduces one of her students so she can involve him in a mysterious plot. Now,
all right. Well, you mentioned GenX recommendations. Why don't we start there? So it's been a couple weeks since we've gotten together.
Yes.
Have you watched or heard or seen anything that you wish to recommend to our listeners and viewers out there? So, Keith, why don't we start with you?
Okay, a few things I want to mention real quick. Sounds like a broken record. I mentioned them before. Warrior Nun. Yes. I finished the first season of Warrior Nun. Wow. That's all I can say on Netflix. Also,
yes, we know you like 24.
Yes, we know that. There's also a series on Netflix called Letter for the King. Has turned out to be pretty good. And also, I got to tell you, man, if you are anything a Star Trek fan and you like Star Trek and all the other Voyager, Deep Space Nine, season 3 of Picard, they're just like, you know what? We are just throwing every trick in the book at it. We're going to make this the greatest season ever. And every episode is like, you got to be kidding me. They brought this person back. They brought that person back. There has been a person brought back from either a different show or the past in every episode, and it has been utterly outstanding. But the big show I'm trying to watch here that I caught on Netflix that was just like, wow. Give me a second here, guys. Hit and run for my love. I think I'm gonna be a singer now.
That was a good Twiki impression as well, there, Keith.
Tweaky? You're not talking from Buck Rogers, are you?
Yeah, it sounded like that for a second.
Beady. Boy, we just dated ourselves there. Okay, missing the name of my show. So how about we pivot to Skinner, and I'll be back at you.
I've got a couple. I was able to watch a movie on Apple Plus starring Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson called The Banker. It is a wonderful movie set place back in the 50s where Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson are real estate guys that opened up a bank and having to deal with race and the whole 9 yards that they did back then. I don't really want to spoil it. It was an hour or 2 hours and 1 minute, and I was hooked for every single second of the movie. Wow. Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson together are pretty fantastic. They seem kind of different, but they fed off of each other very well. Nia Long is in it as well.
Yeah. Nia, whatever.
And Nicholas Hoult. He is a young kid. I'm not sure much that he's done, but there's one of the guys that are along with Anthony Mack's character and Samuel L. Jackson. Great movie. I'd love for you guys to watch that, and we could talk about it.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
It is on Apple Plus, and worth it. I've started watching a documentary on Netflix called the MH370, the plane that disappeared.
Yes.
Remember the Malaysian flight that disappeared?
Yeah. I think you mentioned that last week or last.
And that one is, I'm in episode 2 or 3 now. It's fascinating. With aircraft, being an aircraft mechanic and kind of a passion of mine, it's interesting as to what's happened. It's just mind-boggling, to say the least. But that's if you're into that kind of stuff, that's a good one as well.
All right, cool. That's been on my list, Skinner.
What's that?
It's been on my list to watch.
Yep.
You find your show yet, Keith?
No, go ahead, brother.
Okay. A couple newer things. Well, I finally watched Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
First time. It just hadn't gotten around to seeing it. It is now streaming for free on Amazon Prime. Allie and I watched it on
Plus too.
Okay, very good. Allie and I watched it together one day. We were off and loved it. A lot of fun. So
it's good.
Really. We talked about it even last summer because you guys saw it prior, but it just rings true to the original. A lot of fun. It was great to see Val Kilmer. Even gotten around to seeing it, like me. Take some time. It's 2 hours. It's an easy watch. Definitely takes you back to the nostalgia of an 80s feel movie. Tom Cruise was great. It just, what you're going to get. It was a lot of fun. So definitely worth a watch. And I went to the theater weekend before last, caught John Wick 4 in the theater. So love the John Wick franchise. I was kind of a late, to come to the party with that. I didn't catch it till streaming. I didn't quite get it originally. I struggled with Keanu Reeves as some type of an assassin type role. I loved him in
Matrix.
God, jeez. Couldn't think of the Matrix for a second. But anyways,
so is it the Speed?
I loved him in that movie as John Wick. And again, each movie is a continuation of the prior movie, so it's one long story.
Yeah, my sister and I are going to watch it together because she's a huge Wick fan, and we were taking we're going to play a little game. We're writing down numbers and taking bets. How many people can he kill in one movie? How many shots do he fire? We're gonna have a little fun with it.
A lot.
Yeah, that's the answer, right?
Long movie. Prepare for it. It's like 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Really? Wow.
And there is a post-credit scene to hang around for at the very end of the credits.
2 hours and 50 minutes. Okay.
Yes. So, but definitely great. Like I said, a lot of fun, a lot of action, beautifully shot. So if you're a fan of the franchise, definitely go check that out. I did watch the Agent Elvis series on Netflix, 10 episodes. Goofy, violent, fun. I enjoyed it. I love, Matthew McConaughey as Elvis was great. If you're an Elvis fan, you might think that that's interesting and fun. Yeah, not a kid show, violence and drug use and all kinds of adult themed content, but I thought it was pretty cool. That's the main stuff that and Allie and I caught a fun movie, Grabbers, over the weekend as well. So 2012, it's like an Irish movie. The premise is very simple. People are on an island, an Irish island somewhere, and aliens come to the island and are eating people, but they don't have a taste for people if they are drinking and drunk. And people kind of learn that.
Wow.
And kind of, interesting things happen from there.
When are you moving?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I got a drink to not get eaten by aliens. Where do I sign up?
Only one can only dream.
That's right. It was just a fun kind of fun comedy type movie. So Grabbers, you can find it on streaming for just a couple of bucks. Rent. That's a couple of new things that I saw.
Okay, I got a big one, and I can't seem to recall what it was, but I do want to say I did watch the Wednesday series on Netflix.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of fun. Lot of fun. I find the young lady playing Wednesday eerie and really cute at the same time.
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, she's something else. So that's not the one I'm trying to recall, and if I recall by the end of the show, great. But I had a real big one, but it definitely Wednesdays is something I think people will enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to do a second season of that too. They announced.
Okay, cool.
Okay, one of the newer, not a lot of newer pop culture stories really caught my eye, but this I thought was interesting. Talked about in the other podcasts as well. But Beyonce is going on tour. Tickets are went on sale, and with Ticketmaster fees, the tickets are so expensive that it's making some news that there are some fans that are opting to buy tickets overseas and fly over and catch her in another country to try to save money, because apparently ticket fees, it's more regulated overseas. Now, obviously, you got to get airfare and everything else.
Yeah, that's what
cheap,
I'm thinking about. Like,
right? But that's the reality. That's what's happening. So, just kind of a couple of things of that. One is the thought that you're charging people so much money that they have to remotely consider flying to another country to see you perform. It's just, kind of a sad state of affairs for concert tickets. And I guess the other part is there are people, of course, some people are buying tickets so it's, if you're spending hundreds of dollars on a seat to go see somebody, then, the price is not going to come down anytime soon. And it's also a sign again of these super high ticket fees that Ticketmaster and others are charging people to further what seems like gouge them. So just a lot of things at play here. Obviously they get the high ticket prices to begin with, the ticket fees, and the fact that people feel they have to go overseas to save money to see a performer is all ridiculous to me. So Keith, any thoughts on any of this here? Is it just where it's going to continue to go, or what? What do you think?
I think people are stupid. If I'm a fan of someone and you've been around 15, 20 years and you're loaded, it's obviously you can go on, Google her net worth, not to mention you're married to maybe the second richest artist in music, or at least hip hop anyway. There's Bono and some of those guys are pretty loaded. But definitely Jay-Z is up there in the $1 billion era with Kanye West. So we know money's not an issue. You're not some artist who used to be big and, came back 10 years later trying to make up some money. You're loaded. You're at the top of your game. If I'm your fan and you make ticket prices so high, the average person's got to try to come up with ticket fare and go to another country to see you. Screw you. I'm not listening to you. I'm not supporting you anymore. What kind of crap is that? We don't. You know what? We let our sports teams. We don't let them get away with that. Even as high as ticket prices are, they get too ridiculous. We revolt a little bit. We ought to hold our musicians to such a standard. Shame on you. Shame on you. It's just like some of these shoes out there. I was hunting for new shoes. I saw a pair of shoes on Amazon I like. Forget which basketball star they were. I said, wow, these are hot. And I scrolled up and the price was $539. Are you high? If I had the money, I wouldn't do it on principle. If you support her and go see Beyonce, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem because that is absolutely shameful. That's all I can say about that, man.
Yep. Skinner, any thoughts?
I can't say any more than what he just said. That's for sure. I agree with him 100%. Yeah. It's ridiculous. If you have to resort to going overseas to see a show to save money, you shouldn't be paying attention to that artist to begin with.
Yeah.
And I don't care who it is.
I love my music. I love my artists. I can't think of one single person that I would do that for. Yeah. Not one.
Yeah.
No, me neither.
Nope.
So
now we're sitting in the upper part of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, but Allie and I are going to see Bruce Springsteen Wednesday. We bought tickets last year when they went on sale. And I'm not spending $200 plus typically for an artist, and did not have to spend that for even Bruce Springsteen. Again, that's upper seats, not floor seats, premium seats. However, we could afford to go see one of the more iconic performers in music history in Bruce Springsteen for less than $200.
I might be backstage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bruce and I mentioned before, my Uncle Sam are best friends. And my aunt was trying to arrange for me to go up there and hang out backstage and get to meet Bruce. I'm hoping to get him to say a plug for the show or something like that. What happened was the 72 Dolphins have a cruise. The team has a cruise, and they asked my uncle and aunt to come. They left Saturday or Sunday. And she's going to try to call it in and set it up. She forgot to do it before the cruise because the cruise came out of nowhere. They invited them. And she feels real bad. I'm like, don't worry about it. But if you can set it up, and I'll go on up. So we'll see.
Bruce Springsteen, brought to you by It Came From GenX.
Exactly.
There it is.
That would be cool.
Who's it that came from GenX fan out there? Be as quiet as they ever heard that arena ever be.
Says the boss. But yeah, up yours, Beyonce. You're crazy. Man, you're that's insane.
That's right. Yeah. Keep on listening to us for free out there, everybody. Just give us a subscribe or something. You know what I mean? That's
you
don't ask for much.
$13.99 each episode.
That's right. Buy a shirt. Buy a shirt or something.
$85.
Right. There you go. Yeah. That's right. Show's free, $85 a shirt. Yeah. All right. We're looking at some stuff in pop culture history here, guys. Again, more things that are historically interesting, the new stuff, at least to me this week. Pop culture history. This is again April the 3rd. April the 2nd. First permanent movie theater opened up in 1902 in Los Angeles. So ticket prices 10 cents.
Wow.
Yes. So it was Tally's Electric Theater. It doesn't say what was the first movie here, but it was the first to show a color film. 10 years later. So 10 years later was the first to show a color film. Interesting. So this got me thinking in general. So the movie theater, now obviously, we again talked about this prior elsewhere, but a lot of ways to watch movies these days. There's tons of streaming options. And as we know, quote unquote home theater is becoming more and more prevalent, where they have
Mm-hmm.
newer movies that are still in the theater, very active in the theater. You can now choose to pay, $20 or something like that, for the rights to watch it at home streaming.
Right.
So obviously you're not buying concessions, you're not driving, you're not parking, it's obviously on your screen at home. So is the movie theater experience in general something that's becoming more of a concern? Now, there's also movie theaters like AMC that are experimenting with selling tickets higher depending on where you sit, which to me is a further deterrent. So, just in general, do you still prefer the movie theater experience? Does it depend on the movie,
Wow, interesting.
or you just prefer to go to the movies in general, just for the whole theater experience with the popcorn and the watching it with other people and stuff like that? So, Keith, what do you think about the theater? Is the experience going by the wayside, or not so much a slow down and you still go to the movies plenty yourself?
Well, I think you hit it on the head when you ask the question, does it depend on the movie? I think that's it with me. Even, before all this streaming that came along, I was very selective about what I went to the movies to see. I don't, man, I can't think of the last time I went and saw a drama or love story or comedy. I go to see sci-fi and maybe action. Big screen, big effects, big sound. Anything else, I'm fine with at home. I don't have these wall TVs like everyone else. I got 50, something inches or whatever here and there. But if it's something epic, Avengers, Infinity War, something like that, something with big effects, big colorization, I want to go to the best theater I can. I for a couple of years I was going to our Highland Square here, because the money. But I stopped doing that because I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of black spots. I'm tired of not hearing what they're saying. I just rather pay the money, man, to go to Tinseltown or Cinemark and hear, high def sound and amazing colorization. I want to get the full effect, and I love the movie effect, but I also love staying home too for something. Like if you got a special someone with you, and, turn the TV up, and they got these things now. My son has one where it hooks to your television and the colors change with whatever's on your TV and lights up the walls. The colors match, and it's supposed to bring you into the movie. I don't have that, but I have a thing that's plugged into my TV that lights up the ceiling and makes it like you're underwater, and the room is amazing when movies are playing. So I love both of them. I've never been this person of either or. I've always been like, for different reasons. This music isn't better than that music. This music is for aggression. This music is for dancing. They all have their place. So the movie experience has its place, depending on the movie for me. But I love being at home watching movies too.
Very good. Skinner, what do you think?
Well, like you said, it's a deterrent. If you're going to charge me more money to sit at the top of the theater because it's easier for me to see, you're gonna see me there more, less and less. To be
No,
truthful,
I didn't hear that part. Was that part of the question there?
Well,
that's
AMC is experimenting with that in some of their theaters as well. Depending on where you sit, they want to charge you more money per
That's
line of
lame.
sight.
Yeah.
and they're
You start
charging
playing that
people
crap.
more to sit in the middle of the theater than they are
Right.
on the sides.
Yeah, that's
right.
crap. I ain't gonna play that game.
I am with Keith on the fact that it depends on the movie. The last movie I saw in the theater that came out was with you guys, the Batman.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, boy.
I've been to the theater. I watched It's a Wonderful Life over the holidays. We went to Tinseltown and saw it, and it's a great experience. It's so much better to see that movie in the theater than it is on the small screen at your house.
The last movie I saw was Herbie the Wonder Bug.
Yeah. But the theater's great, but the price that it costs anymore to go and the hassle it does and if they're going to start charging for my seat based on where I sit, I've got a big problem with that. I'll watch it at home.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, if it's a bigger film like John Wick 4, I was fine to go see that in the theater. It's a big action movie, huge. that's worth seeing on the big screen for me. And again, local theater, you could spend $8 to go and get a ticket and go see it. I mean, that's fine. But I'm with you, Keith. I don't recall the last quote unquote non-blockbuster that I went to the theater to see. I just wait anymore. And it really probably damages these type of films. But I don't know. It just you don't need to.
I'll take it a step further, Fish. Not only does it have to do with the genre, but it also has to do with the specifics of that genre. I love the theater experience with other Marvel fans. Pam and I talk about that all the time. We love going online, watching, the cameras in the movie theaters when certain things happen. You know, when all the people came back through the portal during the last of Endgame movie, and all the fans cheering at the same time, all the fans crying at the same time. Marvel fans just have this thing, you know what I mean? It reminds me of the old days. People used to talk about, and I never saw it, but the oh gosh, what's
Rocky
the movie?
Horror. Rocky Horror.
Thank you, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It was it was about the experience together, and Marvel fans are kind of developing that kind of same thing too. That's been pretty cool.
That's a very good point. It depends on if it's a franchise like that too, Star Wars and Marvel and those type of movies. Like, it's not unlike almost like a sporting event in some respects, because like you say, you're fans of that subject matter, and everybody knows what's going on for the most part. Everybody knows to stay till the post-credit scenes.
You say,
you get the reactions and the energy. Yeah, you're right. That does add some extra
when the commercials for Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever came out, there was messages going around social media, especially to Black people. Everybody was to wear white on opening night for the funeral procession. I don't know if it happened because I didn't see it on opening night, but there's little things like that I think are pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's not dead yet, but they're having a harder time drawing people like us out to non-blockbusters, which I think that's probably pretty consistent.
And that's why you got idiots like Martin Scorsese bad-mouthing superhero pictures. You're just jealous, dude.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, and this is, again, April 3rd. 50 years ago today, guys, 1973, the first mobile phone call was placed. Martin Cooper, he was a Motorola employee, made the first call from downtown Manhattan in New York to the Bell Labs headquarters in New Jersey.
Honey, it's me. I ain't never coming home again.
That's right.
I'm with Sunshine.
Yeah, we joked earlier. His first question was, "Are you up?"
Yeah.
No. Thank you. That might have been the first text, actually. "Are you up?"
Probably
not the first phone call. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, then the technology, and you see phone, and it's the old-fashioned huge phone and everything that the guy had from there. But it's amazing, 50 years ago today, and just to think of the technology from that huge phone to what we're carrying around in our pockets today, which is basically a supercomputer. Pretty amazing technology advancements. I know we talked about that in prior episodes. That has to be some of the greatest technology advancements in any type of technology ever for the portable phone. Just really amazing. I don't know. Any thoughts, Keith? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing for me because, as you guys know, I spent many years in the cell phone business. I started selling them not too long after they came out, became portable, and I was there during the huge craze. Get free nights and minutes or get a free phone when that whole thing started. And I just remember all the stages. I had the big Teletac 250. Like you're in the Marines doing reconnaissance. Get those choppers in here. It's a big old thing on your head. And when the little StarTAC flip came out, everybody thought they were Captain Kirk. That phone sold out everywhere. And then when we got the
BlackBerry.
No, I was going to say Roland.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of it, but it had the first screen on it. And when you were able to text your name on that phone, that little feature alone, people lost their mind. It was one of our biggest selling things when people came in, and I would ask them their name, and I would put their name on the phone and hand it to them. It was such a sense of ownership. It was hard for them to walk out and not take that phone with them, So we went from that to hearing about this thing coming called texting. And it was like, what? That's stupid. Why would you want to text when you can talk? We didn't understand the convenience of it and the application. We couldn't see it. And of course, it's one of the biggest things in the world, form of communications. And I remember us getting magazines, Vodafone magazine. Vodafone is actually the company that owned AirTouch and Alltel. They were all under one umbrella. And Vodafone was in the United Kingdom. And we were reading those magazines at work. And they talked about, they had this phone and it had a camera on it. And they were talking on video to another person. We were like, look at this crap. Yeah, this is supposed to be coming in the future one day. I mean, we thought that was pie in the sky. And here we are, like, wow, you're probably doing the show from your phone, absolutely just amazing. So to see all that for me has been just an amazing walk. I used to tell my mom, it's got to be incredible for you to go from, churning your own butter and all this other stuff to the technology you see today. Well, here I'm old enough now that I can see, or we can see, we went from pagers to now you can look on the camera and talk to somebody in Russia if you want to, face to face. Utterly amazing. I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Skinner, any thoughts of the cell phone advancements?
Nothing really to add. I do know that Keith was the salesman for my first cell phone I ever owned back in.
Well, I got you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Still paying it off. 3 more payments.
Yeah, I'm still paying it off to this day. I don't remember what year. I don't remember what year it was, but I was a late bloomer. I didn't have a cell phone for quite a while after it was available.
I didn't know that, Skinner. Wow, good memory.
Yeah. Yep. But the cell phone, while it's the most awful thing in the world for kids today, it is the most wonderful thing for society in general. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Skinner, I got a call the other night. I was like, who is this? It was Donovan. This is my number. My 5-year-old nephew, and again, he turned 5 last week, has a cell phone. Buddy, this is my phone number. I'm too through.
Wow.
And he works it like a pro.
Oh, yeah. Well, my 15-month-old granddaughter knows how to get my phone to the.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for her to figure out how to do the PIN or the password to get into it. 15 months old. She knows, and she knows how to hit the camera.
Yeah.
She knows how to get to the camera without needing my code or my face to do it. 15 months old. So it's insane.
Yeah, it's really become the gateway to the world in many respects. Your personal key, if you will, because obviously that's how people can reach you easily. Like you said, Keith, you could do whatever you want. You could text somebody back, you can call them back, you can video, FaceTime. You can do stuff like this that we're doing now on the smartphone. Yeah. And then, you name an app, you name a news source, you name a entertainment or music or whatever it is, you can access it right through your phone app. You can hook it up, obviously, to Bluetooth. Every vehicle now. You have a good frame of mind towards the phone, Fish.
I have one because I sold them and was kind of raised with them. But here's the reason why I have a great appreciation is because I was raised that this is a utility. Yeah. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we have our younger generation, and to them, this is raised as entertainment. Yep. Or fun, or even a right, if you will. They don't understand a phone is a utility. And even the commercials, I get tired of them, the way they advertise. I see these commercials, and they say everything the phone can do. They never mention make a phone call.
Yeah.
The first thing they advertise is the camera on it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's not a camera, So it's a utility to me. I try to use it as such. I do a lot of things in my personal life, as far as my medical, as far as work. I utilize this thing, and all the extra stuff is just gravy. I got a camera on here. I have a recorder on here. I got, all these crazy apps. I can do all this other stuff. Track the stars, if you will. A lot of cool stuff, but it's a utility. And I think we need to remember that first.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was saying that newer vehicles, I have a newer vehicle too. It's a common selling point now that you have the Apple Play in your vehicle. So you
Mm-hmm.
plug your phone into the vehicle itself. It comes up on your display in your vehicle. You can run your maps, your music, and everything else. Your contacts are automatically
Wow.
there. You can tell the vehicle to make a phone call. Call Keith, and it'll call you right through the car itself. You don't need to do the hands free all through your phone.
Yeah.
Just amazing. All right, sort of in line with that, in 2010, ironically, on this same day, Apple introduced the iPad. So the first iPad. That was something where for years I'm like, I don't get it. It's just a large phone in many respects. Frankly, until we started to get into podcasting, and then last year or so, I finally invested in my own iPad because I wanted the larger workspace. Skinner's showing his right now.
Using it for our podcast, yeah.
I could not, doing this and all the editing and the different apps that we do. I was doing it originally on the small screen of the iPhone with the movies and all that. That was not easy, but having a larger workspace and everything on the iPad is really convenient and really takes it to a whole other level. So I like it. So I know you guys both have iPads. I don't know if you want to mention anything about the iPad or if there's not much else to mention. Any other thoughts on the iPad here, guys?
I want to say this if I can be of help to anybody.
Sure.
I grew up Android, raised on Android. I didn't care much for MacBook, and my girl I was dating for a while got an iPad. I had the Microsoft thing, whatever, and I loved it. Every time I touched her iPad, I felt like I was holding something alien. How do you do this? And doesn't have but one button on it. How do I go back? I finally broke down and got an iPhone, as you guys know, a few years ago. The iPhone 11 is when they took the whole camera and the movie thing to another level. And, of course, it was mostly enlarged. We were doing our football show.
Yep.
The first few weeks, I wanted to throw it away. I just could not understand how to use it. And I saw this on Facebook with a lot of people. I remember seeing a girl post and going, I'm throwing this iPhone away. I'm going back to Android, blah, blah, whatever. It took me a while to get used to it and understand how it works. After a few weeks, I was like, where you been all my life? Then I went on, obviously, to get an iPad now. And I might even get a MacBook down the road here. It's just so much better. I can't even explain how much better it is, how much intuitive it is, how complete it is. And it's just been amazing. So if you're thinking about switching, I encourage you to do it. And if you do switch, don't give up. You got to understand Apple language. Once you understand Apple language, you'll be like, where have you been all my life? I don't see me ever going back to Android.
Okay, very good. Skinner, any thoughts on the iPad or anything else?
No, Porter said it well. I've always been an iPad or iPhone user. I think we've had a discussion before. I started with the iPod Touch, which you were able to play music through it, and you could play some games, and it had a few apps here and there. So it was an easy transition when I went to get a cell phone from my Razor. There's another cell phone that we talked about, is the Razor.
Razor
was one of my favorites. But I went from that then to the iPhone when it first came out. I think I had the iPhones 5 or 7 was the first one, and it was an easy transition, and that's what I've done now. Miss Marcy, up until 3 years ago, she was an Android user, and I couldn't stand her damn phone. She'd tell me to go and do something on her phone, and I said, no, you do it, because I don't know how the hell to use it.
Skinner
it
has
is
the
different.
iPhone 0.7.
Yeah. I mean, the language between the Android and the iPhones is amazing.
Yeah,
how much different it is. But now that she's been an iPhone user, she said she won't go back either. She's the same way. It's just
awesome.
Incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah, Peyton's a senior in college, and she invested in her first MacBook. She said all her classmates, that's all they had was Macs. And she had a Dell laptop. She finally upgraded to Mac, and she's like, it's just incredible. It's the best investment she ever made was
That's
moving to
pretty
that
cool.
technology. So she's a graphic
You
design,
ask,
so all the features there is really helpful for
you ask Mike
a
Jr.,
lot of
he'll tell you
graphic
the
students.
same. Yeah, Mike Jr.
I,
will tell you the same
I'm
thing.
sure. I have a
Yeah.
nice HP here. I love it. It's got the riser in it. It's been fantastic. But I'm definitely, my next investment will be a MacBook for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. April 4th, back in 1968. So I definitely want to pause here for a significant event in not just pop culture, but history in general. We've been doing this show, guys, we know for a year. We know we talked about this, I'm sure, last year, but I just want to pause again to remember that that was the day that Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated back in 1968. So any thoughts? And you want to pause here? Keith, any thoughts on Dr. King?
I have hope by now, and when I say by now, 2023, we would have a lot more transparency in our nation's history. 15 years ago or so, we started seeing a little bit of this happen, a little more revelation coming forth. We know that history is written by the winners, if you will, by the victors, and that a lot of our history has been skewed to become propaganda, even in our schools. We were raised to think of Christopher Columbus as a great person that discovered America, and we find out years later that somebody else discovered it before him, and Christopher Columbus was a racist and a slave trader. All these, we get all these other things. We start hearing some truth. We were hoping to get some truth and transparency in regards to the death of John F. Kennedy. We started hearing things like that. And right now, there have been, if you haven't seen this, Google it, hit it on TikTok. There has been some videos from people who have just come out and said, listen, United States government killed Martin Luther King. And people like Jesse Jackson, who was on that balcony, were in on it. And that Martin Luther King was not killed by that bullet. We have a nurse who has come out and sworn affidavit. She said he was smothered in the hospital. He was still alive. And there were some government guys in there. They put a pillow over his face and smothered him. And I just hope some truth would come out in regards to his death. What good will it do? I don't know. But it's sad when we grow up with these lies and these false statements. We have, if you think John Wilkes Booth killed Kennedy with that rifle, you're high. From that angle, it's just not possible. And James Earl Ray was obviously accused for killing King. He's come out and said he didn't do it before his death. I just hope we get some transparency in regards to his death. When people like that rise to prominence, Kennedy, King, Malcolm X, they get on the radar of the CIA. These are what they call, what's the word? Our language changes over the years. You get called separatists, you get called uprisers, you get called communists, you get called terrorists. I can't think of the word for people like that. Escapes me at the moment. But they don't want you to mess with the status quo. The reggae singer Bob Marley. CIA was watching him very carefully because of the message in his music. People who become for the people, they get on the radar of the government in case you make a little too much noise, in case people begin to follow you. And I just hope we really get to learn what happened with Dr. Martin Luther King. Maybe in hopes of the fact that we hold our government more accountable for stuff like this. So who knows?
Yeah. Skinner, any thoughts?
I don't think I can add any more than what Keith said.
Today's
different because of Martin Luther King, and we have him to thank. But yeah, I'm with Keith. I would like to know the truth about all that someday. maybe someday before we're gone, we'll hear some truth to what's happened, not only to him but to others.
I'll just add that wish that there'd be more progress in the 54 years that just passed. I mean, it's definitely been some, but if he was around, I wonder if he would think we've made enough progress in that amount of
great
time.
question, Fish. Great question. Great question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In a lot of ways we have. I've made jokes about it, but I'm dead serious. I'm sitting here with you fine white people doing a show right now because of his sacrifice. A big part of it, and I wonder where he would say we need to make more progress. And I think the biggest thing is racism has moved from the forefront to the underground now. It is passive aggressive. My job proves this every single day. I might not have people calling me the N-word to my face, but I go and look at apartments and houses all the time with people smiling at me, treating me fantastic, and telling me the rent's $900 a month. Give us a few more weeks to get the repairs done, and we call you. And I walk out of there feeling good. But we send a white girl in right after me, works for us, and she's told the rent's $800 and you can move in Monday. It's very passive aggressive right now. And of course, our prejudice has extended beyond skin color, sex, and of course we have the transgender issue and the homosexual thing, and there's a lot of hatred in the world, period. And I think we need to snuff that out. But I also think people need to be able to say their opinions too without being accused of being full of hate as well. I think that's a big problem. But yeah, I wonder what he would think. Great question.
Yeah, a lot to reflect on for sure. Okay, guys. Let's see. April 5th, 1987, the new Fox network that debuted a few months prior, and two big shows launched in April of 87. The Tracy Ullman Show, which of course was the birthplace of The Simpsons, which was a short on there, and Married with Children were two big new shows on the network at the time. So I remember when those came on the air. I didn't really watch Tracy Ullman so much, but I remember when Married with Children hit it was like, wow, it was nothing like had been on network television in maybe ever at that point. So obviously very raunchy and very questionable, funny. So there weren't a whole lot of middle ground fans, I think, with Married with Children. So do you guys remember when those shows hit the airwaves? Were you a fan of Married with Children or Tracy Ullman? What did you think of these, if so? Or what? Keith, what do you think about these two shows?
I was a huge fan of Tracy Ullman show. I thought it was new. It was fresh. I was a big fan of hers. And I remember those little Simpsons skits that, came on there. So I was there from the beginning. The whole Married with Children thing, I think that was the beginning of the outrageous comedy, if you will, that just kind of stepped over the line. Everything's free game nowadays, but that show was like, wow, really, they did not just say that or insinuate that. And I think Fox was kind of the pioneer with that stuff.
I think you're right. Yeah, you saw Living Color come out.
Yeah,
there was a few
Color,
things that were just put Mad TV.
Gary Shandling and all these other stuff. I think they were the pioneer for this new era of, we're going to kind of say whatever we want to say type of stuff. So, yeah, I was a big fan of Tracy Ullman. And I remember Simpsons and Married with Children from its inception.
Yeah, Fox wasn't afraid to, like you say, to set the tone and kind of break the rules.
Not at all, man.
They knew, like, to compete with ABC and CBS and NBC, we had to do something completely different.
And even in their dramas, they were New York Undercover. All that stuff was great. 21 Jump Street, that was good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Skinner, were you a Married with Children and Tracy Ullman fan, the Fox network back then?
Oh yeah, both of them. But you think what they had to compete with when they came out during the time NBC had Seinfeld. And I'm trying to remember some of the big ones that a couple of the other ones have.
Well, Skinner, just think
else.
about it, period.
Cosby
Trying to launch a
Show
new
and
network to compete with
Yeah,
the big
ABC
boys.
had the Cosby Show. I mean, it was during that time that Fox came out. So they had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, they
and I
did.
think they hit a home run with actually with both of them, but especially Married with Children. I mean, you hadn't seen a family like that since Archie Bunker, to be truthful.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't as raunchy and it wasn't as severe, but you hadn't seen anybody or any family so dysfunctional since Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
And it was accepted back then as comedy, and that's what I'm so thankful for. Back then, we could look at it and it would say, "This is comedy. This isn't reality."
Right.
And we were able to sit and laugh
One
about
thing
it.
they did though, Married with Children made no apologies about being cheap humor. They took a lot of cheap shots, a lot of corny shots. They weren't apologetic about that, and you had to understand that's what you were watching. You know, you either laugh at it or you don't. You know, I've always laughed at some of the stuff on there. Just the little things, you know, their little group they had, No Ma'am, and you know, and all that stuff. You know, I just thought it was like a ridiculous show. Him always telling stories about how he scored 4 touchdowns, Polk High, and you know, I just always enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep. I just thought this was interesting. We talked about recently LeBron James breaking the NBA scoring record in '84. This was the day that Kareem passed Wilt Chamberlain's record at the time. So Kareem then held the record from '84 all the way up until this year when LeBron finally broke his record. So big news in '84 with the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Absolutely.
If you're Jabbar, you would have every reason to think that record will never be broken.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just for the longevity in itself.
Yeah.
And playing the game is astounding. Just a couple more here, guys. April 6th, 1967, Roger Ebert published his first movie review. And of course, later on, Siskel and Ebert had a televised movie review show, which I think is still on the air now with some other, obviously some other people. He's since passed away. I think the name might still be, I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, the whole thumbs up.
I love that show. Yeah.
You know, I used to watch it. It was like on late night TV.
I didn't miss it. I tried not to miss it.
Why? What was the appeal to you? Go ahead.
Well, it was the only way to get previews, first of all.
Yep.
I mean, we can preview anything we want now. You know, YouTube has, trailers. Everything on there. But
they're called trailers today.
The excitement.
We say it was previews.
Thank you. Yeah. But the excitement to see a new show, he was always hoping it was something that you like. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, that was so exciting to me to get a glimpse of a movie that was coming out. And I learned a lot as a young boy listening to them, how to actually watch a movie objectively. I learned a lot from those guys, and they pointed out things that my mind never thought about, stuff like that. And they didn't always just do serious movies and things like that. They did all kinds of movies. So I love that show, man. I used to love Siskel and Ebert. I used to hate when one of them was sick and there was a new guy. No, I don't want to see Siskel and Johansson. I want to see Siskel and Ebert, I thought they played great off of each other. They remind me of the ESPN show.
PTI.
Yeah, PTI. They just had great chemistry. And I just thought it was a really, really cool show. They met in the balcony, and talked about the movies they saw. Awesome.
That was good. Skinner, were you a Siskel and Ebert fan?
Yeah, I was. And like Keith said, it was the only place you could go and preview a movie, or that's where you found out what was coming out. We had the newspaper, and if you didn't get a newspaper, you didn't know what was coming out in the theaters. So that was your show to watch to see what was coming out in the coming weeks. So, didn't always agree with their critiques, but that was a good show to watch each and every week.
Yeah.
Let
me ask you guys a question.
Go ahead, please.
Do you prefer seeing trailers and knowing what's coming out, getting your whistle wet, or would you prefer back in the old days? Boom, the movie's out. You had no idea it was being made, and just the excitement. I got to go see that now.
That's a good question. I think it's if they're smart. I like the short answer is the trailer that doesn't give away stuff. These trailers, in the movies now. I can't remember what I saw. John Wick,
Infinity War.
Yep.
Put out all those amazing trailers, and it was no more than 16 seconds of the actual movie.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Yes.
But I don't like watching too many trailers, and then all of a sudden, by the time the movie's out, I saw that. I kind of knew this was, you know what I mean? It kind of lets the air out for you.
Yeah, there was. I can't think of the movie now, but even like I said, John Wick, whatever trailer this was, I felt like I watched the entire movie summary already.
Yeah, I've seen them like that.
It's stupid.
I like teaser trailers. Tease me. Oh no, that's what this is. I like a trailer you got to watch for a few seconds before you even know what it is, and boom, you know what it is at the end, but you still didn't get nothing. That excites me.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you, Skinner?
I've lost my train of thought again. This has been one of those nights, man.
Nicolas Cage?
No, it's not Nicolas Cage. I'm sitting there listening to you guys, and then all of a sudden, I'm just blanked.
He was talking about trailers. Do you like the fact of seeing any type of trailer, or do you just like teaser trailers or no trailer?
I would rather have a teaser trailer than to know what the movie's about before I go see it.
Yeah.
If you're going to tease me of a scene that's a predominant scene, I only want to see a couple seconds of it. I don't want to see more than that, and then I've already seen the movie.
Yeah.
So I would like to see a preview, as we called it back in the day. Give me a preview as with the trailer today, and I'm fine. But don't tell me what the whole damn movie is before I see it.
Or don't answer a question like the most important. Every movie has a question. Don't answer it in the trailer. Like Black Panther or Wakanda Forever. Don't answer the question, who's the new Black Panther in the trailer. You just kill the whole movie. When you do that.
Told it. Yes, it's called spoiler.
Yeah.
You already spoiled it.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm sure if Siskel and Ebert were still around to rate this show, they would give us a solid.
Maybe for me it would be this.
We don't have enough thumbs to put down.
I wish we had more hands, so we get 4 thumbs down.
Right.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
All right. Well, maybe stick around. You might catch a teaser trailer for the next Cage in a Cage, Keith, coming up. Yep. By the way, I'll just before I forget to mention, for all seriousness, Nick Cage is playing Dracula in a movie coming out this month. Did you know that, Skinner?
Wow.
I did not know that.
Madonna's doing the soundtrack.
Look up the trailer for Renfield. So Renfield it kind of focuses on his sidekick that's been setting up the kills and cleaning up things, and his assistant for centuries. So it's kind of they're in the modern world, and Renfield is kind of getting weary of the whole experience and everything else. So, but yeah, Nick Cage plays Dracula. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, Madonna's doing the soundtrack. They were going to ask Beyonce, but she wanted too much money. So
that's right. That's right. Yep. All right, guys. I think we have come to an end. Keith, any announcements before we wrap it up here, sir?
Yes. April 21st, I will be returning with the band BPM, which stands for Brooks Porter McKenzie. Al McKenzie of Firehouse fame, Eric Brooke, Canton's first son, and we will be performing at Lou's in Maslin, if you will. On why am I having blanks today? What's the main road going up Maslin? You guys know Lincoln Way.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Lincoln Way.
On Lincoln Way. That's April 21st. Also, man, I tell you, Rock Generation, we have our big show debut show with our new vocalist May 29th at Stinger's Harley Davidson in Medina. And I have never been with a band working so hard as we have been working. Every rehearsal is a full concert. We're talking about 17, 22 shows. 17 to 22 songs every rehearsal. I'm just beat. I went in the other day. They got the big truss set up over my drum set, putting together laser lights. We want our show to be second to none. I am really excited about this band. And I want to say, send some love to a very dear friend of mine, Pastor Mary Harris. She dialed in on our live show a few times for our 100th episode, and came home last night, and her husband, who's been my friend and my mentor, Bishop Joel Harris, found him dead last night. And I just want to send my love to her. She listens to our show, and just tell her how much I love her, and I'm with you in pain. I'm with you in rejoicing. I'm with you in prayer. So shout out to her.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, for me, you can find me on Convincing Idiots, the podcast, brother podcast with Dean and Nick, pop culture, fun. And I'll also be making an appearance on the next Cage in a Cage with Skinner. We're going to talk about, what prisoner in Con Air would you least like to be a cellmate with, and most like to be a cellmate with. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I do have one announcement though. I will be going out of town May 12th, 13th, and 14th for a concert.
Yeah, you're funny. It's not me you have to speak to on that one.
Yeah, you got that right. Never mind. That straightened me up quick.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Well, Skinner, any announcements you have, and then take us out, please, sir.
Yeah, nope. Just pray for the family, pray for mom-in-law to continue her recovery from minor stroke. She had a minor stroke after she had a
love you, Mama Dee.
Yes. So the prayers and thoughts are greatly appreciated. But she's on the road to recovery. We'll see how much further she will go. So for Brian Fisher, Keith Porter, I'm Michael Skinner. We're the guys from GenX. We appreciate you, the listeners. We will talk to you next week. Stay strong.
Stay strong, everybody.
Hey, Fish here from It Came From GenX with Skinner and Keith. For every like and subscribe, you may win a free 1-year subscription to the AARP.